So happy Monday, everyone. It's nice to see everybody. So you can start getting a comfortable seat on your mat. We'll get started with a mudra this practice. And the mudra that we're going to take is the Kali mudra. So you're going to interlace your hands, and then index fingers come out, and then left thumb goes over to right. So it kind of looks like a handgun, but it's not. It's a mudra. So Kali is the Hindu goddess of transformation and breaking through the status quo. So she's a really fierce goddess. She's a little scary looking, but she breaks things down, structures that are no longer serving you. And she can sometimes be mistaken as bad luck. So sometimes you see her energy in breakups, job loss, or another crisis. But you can remember that she's kind of a loving mama, and she's really just trying to clear anything down that is no longer serving your growth. So you might remember a time where something happened and you thought it was terrible, but you realized after the fact that it really opened doors for you. So that's Kali. So you can bring that mudra right to the solar plexus and close your eyes. We'll just take a moment or two to arrive. So you just start to focus on your breath, noticing the inhales and when they turn into the exhale. And we can call on Kali whenever we need strength, power, courage. And remembering that she's fierce, but she's also protective. And she always has your best interest at heart. Maybe see if you can lengthen out your inhales and exhales. Just making them a little bit deeper, a little bit slower. And when we take the time to take longer breaths that really originate at the belly, we send our nervous system signs that we are okay, that we're at ease. And we also get energy. So it's great to remember that throughout the practice. You can take a moment to set an intention for your practice. Or maybe it's just something that you can cultivate Kali's energy to get through. If there's some place where you're stuck or feeling blocked, or you just use a little more fearlessness or courage breaking through. Right, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take your mudra, bring it right out in front of you. And then inhale, rise up. So lengthen in the spine. We'll take a side bend to the right. So just stretching out the left side of the body. Coming back up through center, we'll take a side bend to the left. And coming back up through center, you can release your mudra and meet me in your tabletop. Shoulders over wrist, hips over knees. You can get your hands nice and flat on the earth with no space in between. We'll start to come into cat-cow. So inhale, drop the belly, look up. That's your cow. And then exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. That's your cat. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch the spine, drop the head. You can take a couple more now at your own pace. Just matching breath to movement. And working out any kinks. Maybe you've been sitting at a desk all day or had to do some driving. So just adding a little bit more motion into the spine. Matching movement to breath. And if there's any other shapes or postures that are calling to you, you can take those here now as well. So maybe it's some hip circles, or maybe you rotate your hands out to the side, or facing the knees. And we'll come back to our tabletop. So you can engage the core here. Bring the belly button back up towards spine. We'll extend the right leg out so it's parallel to the earth. Left hand reaches forward, gaze is straight down. And take inhale here. Exhale, bringing knee to elbow. Rising back up. Knee to elbow. Coming back up. Knee to elbow. Coming back up. Holding it here. And then hand and knee can come back down to the earth. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, arch the spine, drop the head, and coming back to neutral. This time, left leg will extend out, right hand reaches forward, gaze is straight down. We're going to take an inhale here, exhale, knee to elbow, rise back up, knee to elbow, coming back up, knee to elbow, back up, holding it here, hand and knee can come back to the earth. You can step your feet back, coming into your high plank. So belly comes back up towards spine, hips are slightly raised, so you can imagine that they're probably close to the same level as your shoulders. And breathing here, so hands are pressing the earth away, just like you were trying to open up a really heavy door. And remembering at any time you can always come down to your knees as well. You're still building strength here. We're going to take an inhale here. Exhale, lift the hips, come right back, downward facing dog. And we'll glide forward, coming back to our high plank. And then back downward facing dog. So this is going to be about the width of your downward facing dog. So you should be able to transition from high plank to downward facing dog. And I remember the first time someone told me that, it seemed like a really wide dog, but you do get used to it. Of course, if you need to step in a little bit, you can do that, but just knowing that at some point you want to try to get it to be about that width. Come right back over to your high plank. We'll push forward on our tiptoes, so we're going to come all the way down to the earth, but really slowly. So for a count of 5, keeping elbows close to torso. So coming all the way down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. With hands underneath shoulders, you can inhale, coming up through Cobra. And then exhale, coming back down. We'll do that 2 more times, kind of like a Cobra wave. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, back down. 1 more time. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale, you can come right back down. And bring your arms long beside you, palms facing the earth. So we're going to come into some belly back bend. So we'll come into the locust variation. So shoelace side of the feet, press into the earth, hands press into the earth. On an inhale, rise up. So lifting the upper body, the head, gaze is still at the earth. So you can almost imagine if there's like a string in between your shoulder blades and it's lifting you up. So really using those upper back muscles. Breathing here. And these are just great counter postures for all of the hunching over we do whether we're looking at our phones or at our computers. And coming back down. Take a moment to reset. Now for the next one, we're going to lift the upper body, including the arms, and the lower body. So when you're ready, inhale, rise up. Make sure the feet stay about hips width apart. They don't need to get too wide. And breathing here. And it's not a matter of how high you can get. You can really think about it as length. So if the toes were trying to get to one end of the room and the crown of the head in the other. And then coming back down to the earth. So we have 1 more. So you can take either of those variations, or maybe for the next one, you interlace the hands behind the lower back, and it becomes a chest opener as well. But when you're ready, you can rise up. Remember to breathe. I'm thinking about how strong you're making your back right now. And then come back down to the earth. You can bend the knees here, windshield wiper the feet back and forth. And then let the legs lay long on the earth. Hands come underneath shoulders. You can curl the toes under, start to engage the core here. So we're going to push right up through high plank, and then back, downward facing dog. So we'll stay in this downward facing dog for a few breaths. So you have some time here now. Pedal out the feet, start to wake up the calves, hamstrings. But the hands are still pressed firmly into the earth. And then when you find some stillness, you're going to keep the knees bent a little bit because that helps to lengthen the spine and it will feel much better on your back. Head hangs between biceps and breathing here. Go high on the tiptoes, bend the knees to lengthen, walk to the front of your mat. We'll meet in Ragdoll forward folds, feet hips width apart, opposite hand to opposite elbow. You can bend the knees here, let the head hang heavy. And with the feet rooted into the earth, you can sway a little bit back and forth. You can release the hands to the earth. Toe heel your feet together, so big toes are touching, heels might be slightly apart. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen, so bring in the shoulder blades back. We'll take that Kali Mudra again, so interlacing the hands, index fingers touch, left thumb over right, and then point it forward. So your torso is parallel to the earth. And then you'll root your feet into the earth using leg strength, rising up into your extended Tadasana with the Kali Mudra. Inhale to lengthen, trying to touch the sky. Once you can't get any more length, you'll take a side bend to the right. So feet root into the earth, stretching out the left side of the body. And then rising back up. Take a moment to lengthen, reaching the fingertips high to the sky. We'll take a side bend to the left, stretching out the right side of the body. Coming back through center, you can release your mudra. Take a high twist to the right. Rising back up, high twist to the left. Coming back up, we'll take goddess arms. Inhale, look up, opening up the heart space, throat. And then hands can come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen the spine. So bring the shoulder blades back. So just like you were having a pencil in between your shoulder blades. Then you can plant the hands. We'll step the left foot back. Drop the left knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky, low lunge. And breathing here. Left hand connects to the earth. We'll twist to the right. Right hand comes back to the earth. Curl the back toes under. Right foot steps back. Downward facing dog. Glide forward, high plank. Core is engaged. That belly button comes back up towards the spine. We'll come all the way down to the earth, slowly, thoughtfully, all the way down via low push-up. Inhale, coming up through Cobra. Exhale, coming back down. Curl the toes under, engage the core, push right back up through high plank. And then downward facing dog. And you can always push back into a supported push-up or tabletop too, but you remember to customize this practice, make it your own. We always feel a little bit differently every day, so this is always just such a great opportunity. It's why I love this practice, because we can just check in and see how we're feeling today. Right leg comes high, three-legged dog on the right. So the hands pressing firmly into the earth. It's like that back foot wants to put a footprint on the back wall. You take an inhale here, exhale, glide forward, right knee, right elbow. Coming back up. Right knee, left elbow. Coming back up. Knee to nose. Holding it here. Right foot steps forward. Runner's lunge on the right. So knee is over ankle here. You're on the ball of your back foot. If you have blocks and want to use them, you can use them to bring the earth a little bit closer. Drop the back knee to the earth. Straighten out the front leg, half split. Inhale to lengthen, exhale just hinging at the hip so you don't have to go very low here. Walk the hands forward, curl the back toes under, left foot comes to meet the right, downhill skier. So elbows come back by ribs, feet root into the earth, hips are low, spine is long. Take an inhale here, exhale, arms sweep back. Leg strength brings you right up to standing. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine, shoulder blades come back. Plant the hands, we'll step the right foot back, drop the right knee to the earth. Hands come high to the sky, low lunge. Breathing here. And dropping right into that front leg. Right hand can connect to the earth. We'll twist to the left. Left hand comes back to the earth. Curl the back toes under. Left foot steps back. Downward facing dog. And glide forward, coming into your high plank. And then coming all the way down to the earth via low push-up. Inhale, pushing up through Cobra. Exhale, coming back down. Curl the toes under, rise back up through high plank. And then downward facing dog. And breathing here. Left leg comes high, three-legged dog on the left. You can take an inhale here, exhale, glide forward, left knee, left elbow. Rising back up, left knee, right elbow. Coming back up, knee to nose, holding it here, and then left foot steps forward, runner's lunge on the left. And just taking a moment here in runner's lunge. Remember, you can use your blocks if you have them, or things that could double as blocks, like maybe cans of food or toilet paper. It's quarantine yoga. Right knee comes to the earth, straighten up that front leg, half split. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, hinging forward. Walk the hands forward, curl the back toes under. Right foot comes to meet the left. Downhill skier, elbows come back by ribs. And take an inhale here. Exhale, arms sweep back. Leg strength brings you right up to standing. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, hands come to heart center. So we'll take a couple of sun salutations now, matching breath to movement. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your high plank. We'll come into our low push-up for this one, halfway down. Push up, upward facing dog. We're just going to pause in this first upward facing dog for a moment. So shoulders over wrist, shoelace side of the feet pressing into the earth. Gaze straight ahead. So I paused in this first one just to give the body a chance to get into the posture so we're not get that sense of muscle memory for future ones. Take an inhale here, exhale, lift the hips, coming back, downward facing dog. Inhale, tiptoes, exhale, bend the knees, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Root down to rise up to standing. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Low push-up. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Big breath in. Maybe you sigh it out on your exhale. Inhale, tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Root down to rise up to standing on the inhale, hands come high. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Low push up. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Remember to customize those vinyasas. So if you don't like the low push up to upward facing dog, maybe you come all the way down to do a cobra. You could just do a push up, or maybe you just push right back, downward facing dog. Inhale, tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. It's time to drop the hips, coming into your Katasana chair pose. So feet can be either hips width apart here, or the toes can be touching. So you can see what feels better, what you feel a little bit more grounded in. I finally feel warm, so I'm going to take off my shirt. You don't need to do that, of course. Feet are rooting, hips are low, breathing here. Maybe find something to gaze at. Maybe you drop your hips a little bit lower. And just experiment. See if you can get them lower. Remembering you're stronger than you think you are. You can feel the feet connecting to the earth, feeling grounded and supported. And take one more inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Low push up. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Lift the right leg high. Three-legged dog on the right. So hips and shoulders stay square to the earth, toes pointing down. Now step the right foot forward, dial the back foot back, rise up, warrior one. So in warrior one, both feet are planted firmly on the earth, the hips are squared forward. You're really firing up that back foot, so putting a lot of weight into that because that's what helps squaring the hips forward. And breathing here. You can take the Kali Mudra again, so kind of looks like Charlie's Angel Mudra as well too, but again, fierce, powerful woman. And rise up to the sky, inhale, look up for a little mini back bend, and then exhale, hands come back through the plank, low push up, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Of course, you don't have to be a woman to connect with the goddess Kali. We all have masculine and feminine energies, and Kali protects us all. Left leg comes high, three-legged dog on the left. Left foot steps forward, back foot dials back, rise up, warrior one. Now if you feel like it's challenging to get your hips squared forward, you can see if you can widen your stance a little bit so it's more like train tracks than a tightrope. Breathing here. And take the mudra again. So reaching high to the sky, looking up for a little mini back bend, and then bringing hands through heart center. As you come back down to the earth, step back to plank, low push up, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. And breathing here. Inhale, tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees, walk or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, bend the knees to lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Drop the hips, coming back into your Utkatasana, back into your chair pose. Feet are rooted, spine is long. You remember to breathe. And take an inhale here, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. And then you can plant the hands back to your high plank. Low push-up, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Right leg comes high, three-legged dog on the right. Right foot steps forward, back foot dials back. Rise up, warrior one. Taking a moment here, getting into your warrior one. Both feet planted firmly on the earth, eyes steady, gaze straight ahead. And bring your hands to heart center. We're going to place the weight into our right foot. Left leg will sweep around, coming into our standing figure four. That left ankle is right on the right knee. And if it takes a couple of steps to get there, that's fine. You know, these transitions, you can think of them as opportunities to be playful. So it's kind of like a one-legged Katasana. Now you can stay here with hands at heart center, or you can try paralleling your torso to the earth. Maybe reach the hands forward and flex that left foot. Maybe a little bit more of a stretch. Breathing here. And bring hands back to heart center. Start to rise back up, bringing that left knee with you. And you're in your one-legged Tadasana. So left knee is about hip height. Grab the outside of the left knee with the right hand. We'll twist to the left, coming into our dancing Shiva. Coming back through center, hands at heart center. We'll kick the left leg back, warrior three. Hips and shoulders square to the earth. Keep a little bit of a bend in that front knee. That's what we want the muscles to do the work supporting us in these balances, not the joints. And then gently step back, crescent lunge. So you're on the ball of your back foot, that front knee is over the ankle. Drop the back knee to hover. So stretching out the left quadriceps up. And then straighten the back leg. You're back into your crescent lunge. You can bring the hands to heart center. Torso hovers over the right thigh now. So you can imagine the diagonal from the crown of your head to your back heel, keeping the spine long. And then we'll twist to the right. You can hook the left elbow along the right knee. And you can keep hands at heart center, press together, or if you want, open up your wings. And breathing here. And then windmill open, warrior two. Warrior two, we've got heel to instep alignment. Knee is over ankle, arms parallel to the earth. Gaze straight ahead. This is one of our power positions, so we've got both feet on the earth, we're taking up space. And proclaiming our right to be here, our right to take up space. Eyes are steady, maybe it's gazing at that spot right above the middle finger, that's your drishti. And then you just find a little calmness, a little ease to the posture. And flip the front palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, coming into your side ankle. Right forearm to right thigh. Maybe kick that back heel back a little bit. Both feet pressed on the earth. And you think about what you want to do with that top hand. It can be right above the head. Reaching forward with the pinky turning down. Maybe it wraps behind you in a half or full bind. But wherever you're doing, you're trying to keep the chest open. You can imagine it corkscrewing to the sky. You also remember to breathe. Really, all of this is just as much as a breathing practice as it is a physical practice. And it's also good training too. Sometimes when we get into difficult positions, we want to hold our breath, just like in life. That's really when we need to call upon it. It's our life force, our energy. And the feet press into the earth, rise back up, warrior two. I know your front leg is probably getting a little achy right now. I know mine is too, but that's good. It's a sign we're building strength, building power. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse your warrior, and then straighten that front leg. You can toe heel your back foot up a little bit. We'll set up for twisting triangle. So you can square the hips to the front of the mat. If you have a block, you can take it in your left hand. We'll go right underneath the left shoulder. To lengthen the spine, so sacrum in one direction, crown of the head in the other. I like to place my right hand right on my sacrum, and we'll start to twist to the right. And this might be plenty for you, or if you want, you can experiment with lifting that right hand high. I tend to like to keep my hand on the sacrum because I feel like I can keep my spine longer. I'm breathing here. You can rotate the hips, square the hips back to the earth. This time take the block, place it in your right hand, and then go about 6 to 12 inches in front of, to the right of your right foot. We'll come into half moon. Left leg lifts, hips stack on one another. Breathing here. Again, keeping a little bit of a bend in that standing leg so the muscles are doing the work. And also see if you can take a lighter touch on that block, if that's what's holding you up. So it's almost like your fingertips are just resting. Keep a little bit of a bend in that right knee. See if you can gently, quietly come back, warrior two. Again, it's okay if you thump, it's just kind of for fun. Pivot to the left, goddess. Toes come out to 10 and 2, shoulder stacked over hips, and breathing here. You can keep your hands at heart center. If you want to take the goddess arms, you can take that. Maybe you experiment. If we generally have hands at heart center, so maybe take goddess arms. See how that feels. Again, it's more of a posture. We can take up some space. With the feet, feel them rooted into the earth, and then see if you can sink the hips a little bit lower. Breathing here. And tapping into your inner power. We'll pivot back to the right, coming back to our warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, hands wiggle back down to the earth. Place the weight into the left hand. Right leg sweeps back and we come into our siding. We come into our plank. For some reason my words aren't entirely working. Side plank. You can stack your feet, stagger them, lift a top leg. Maybe you want to come into wild thing. So if you want to do that, you lift your top leg, plant the ball of the foot, the right ball of your foot behind you, lift the hips up. So it's a little bit of a back bend. And breathing here. And if you're in your wild thing, we'll come out the same way we came. Right hand comes high. And then we'll all come back to our high plank. Both hands on the earth. Now, if you would like to go through a vinyasa or take a push-up, you can. Or you could come right back, downward facing dog. And that's what I'm going to do. And breathing here. Left leg comes high, three-legged dog on the left. Left foot steps forward, back foot dials back, rise up, warrior one. Warrior one on your left, hips square to the earth. Back foot is really pressing into the earth. You can bring your hands to heart center. Maybe you find that's something to gaze at that's going to give you some balance. Place the weight into the left foot. Right leg sweeps around, standing figure four. So that right ankle is on the left knee, right foot is flexed, spine is long, bending the hips, lowering the hips. You can stay here or parallel the torso to the earth, reaching forward for a deeper stretch. And breathing here. So bring hands back to heart center. Start to rise up, one-legged Tadasana, bringing that right knee with us. Left hand comes to the outside of the right knee, twist to the right, dancing Shiva. Coming back to center, bringing hands to heart center. Right leg kicks back, warrior three. Hips square to the earth. We'll keep the hands at heart center for this warrior three. We keep a little bit of a bend in our left knee. Breathing here. Gently step back, crescent lunge on the left. Knee is over ankle, you're on the ball of your back foot. Drop the right knee to hover, so stretching out that right quadricep. And then straighten the back leg and you're back in your crescent lunge. Bring your hands to heart center. Open wide like a T. We'll take a high twist to the left. So crescent lunge, high twist. And then windmill open, warrior two. So we're in our warrior two on the left, tail to instep alignment, and that left knee is actually tracking to the upper left corner of the mat. So you can think of being grounded and still open. You guys stay where you are. I'm just going to change my position so you don't have to look at the back of me. So all in our warrior two on the left. And we're just going to get comfortable here. So we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths with our shoulders stacked over hips. Finding some ease to the posture. And staying with the body and the breath. Remember, we can call on the breath when we need to calm down our nervous system or we need to access a little bit more energy. And of course, we can do this even when we're not doing yoga. We can call on the breath, use the breath as our tool. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse your warrior, and then exhale, side angle, left forearm to left thigh, kicking the back heel back. And we'll be here for a couple of breaths. So getting into your full expression of your side angle, whatever that means to you. And breathing here. Feet are rooted, chest is corkscrewing to the sky. If you find your toes are trying to grip the mat, see if you add a little bit more ease to your feet. And keeping those warrior two legs, we'll rise back up, warrior two. Holding here just for another breath or two. I swear we're almost out of warrior two. Reverse your warrior. And then straighten that front leg. toe heel the back foot up a little bit. We'll square our hips to the front of the mat. You can grab that block in the right hand now as we get ready for our twisting triangle. So the block will come right underneath the shoulder. You'll lengthen the spine, coming into that flat back. Maybe that left hand comes to the sacrum, and start rotating to the left. And breathing here. Square the hips back to the earth. Take the block in the left hand, place it about 6 to 12 inches in front of you. We'll come into our half moon. Right leg lifts, hips stack on one another. And try not to collapse into the block, but merely use it to bring the earth a little bit closer. If it feels okay on your neck, you can try to gaze at your hand. If not, just gaze at the wall. And keep a little bit of a bend in that standing leg, and then we'll see if we can gently come back. Warrior two. And rotate to the right, coming into our 5-pointed star. Hands can come to hips, toes come slightly inwards, slightly pigeon-toed. Inhale, look up, opening up the chest, a little back bend. Exhale, bend the knees. We'll start to come into our forward fold, but with really bent knees. So you're really lengthening the spine here. So our hands come underneath the shoulders, sacrum is in one direction. We'll go to the side and make sure you guys can see what I mean. Crown of the head is in the other. And then if that feels okay, after finding that length, keep the length in the spine, but simply start to straighten the legs so you are hinging at the hips. Let the head hang heavy. And bring your hands to the ankles, or maybe they walk through, or they just rest simply underneath your shoulders. Also see if you can drop your head. I notice sometimes we like to hold on, we think we need to do a little bit more, maybe we're gazing at the earth. Really be looking at the wall behind you. I think as humans, we tend to do a lot, and I think now the practice is, what can we do less of? How can we go with gravity, with nature? How can we live in harmony? Maybe we don't have to expend quite so much effort. You can bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. We're going to come up the same way we got down. Hands can come to hips with that flat back. Straighten the legs, and you come right back up to standing. Pivot to the left. Warrior two on the left. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, hands windmill back down to the earth. This time you're going to place the weight into the right hand. Left leg sweeps back, side plank on the right. Remember, you're coming into your version of your side plank, so whatever that means to you. And if you want to come into wild thing, you can lift that left leg up, plant the ball of the left foot behind you, lift the hips for a little back bend. Left hand can reach high if you're in your wild thing. And we'll all make a way back to our high plank. And breathing here. Hips lift, come back, downward facing dog. And start to walk your hands to the back of your mat. So then you're standing at the back of your mat in your forward fold. Feet are about hips width apart. Slowly start to roll up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. And we will meet in our Tadasana, palms outstretched. You'll take a step forward with your right hand. Right hand comes high. That back hand kind of is like you're hitchhiking, like if you're putting your thumb out. Then you'll grab your left foot. So maybe that thumb comes right to the arch of the foot. And maybe you stay here. And this is like a standing quadricep stretch, just pointing the knee straight down to the earth. And clearly you're getting a lot out of this. You're balancing, you're stretching. But if you want to come into the dancer's pose, you kick the left foot back. So it's more of a back bend. Your gaze is still straight ahead, trying to keep the hips square to the earth so they're not opening up to the side wall. Breathing here. And the more you kick the foot, the more balance you have. So I think it's like that tension between the shoulder and the foot helps to balance. You'll start to come right back up to standing. Release the left ankle, step the left foot forward, left hand comes high, and grab the right foot. Right ankle. So knee starts by just pressing down in this standing quadricep stretch. And then if you want to come into your dancer, kicking it on back. Again, hips are squared to the earth. And gaze is forward. Breathing here. And rising back up. Right foot comes to meet the left. Hands to heart center. Take a moment here, just closing your eyes with the feet rooted into the earth, shoulders stacked over hips, crown of the head just right, straight in line. And just breathing here. And ready, open your eyes. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Plant the hands, step back to your high plank. Low push-up. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. And come forward to your high plank. Drop the knees on the earth. Cross your ankles, and you can make your way right on to your back. So however you want to get to your back. Bring the hands behind your head. Knees come up to 90 degrees. And we'll do 30 yoga bicycles. So right elbow to left knee for 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Soles of the feet on the earth. Good job. The hard part is over. So the feet on the earth, they're going to be about hips width apart. You can see if you can graze your heels with your fingertips. So we're just going to take 2 bridge poses tonight. So you can come in with the arms, backs of the arms on the earth, kind of like the Lego robot arms, or interlace the hands behind the lower back. When you're ready, get into your bridge and lift the hips up. If your hands are interlaced, see if you can shimmy the shoulder blades underneath the shoulders, and it becomes a chest opener as well. And try to keep the knees hips width apart so they're not splaying open but are parallel to one another. And then you can bring the hips down to the earth, taking a moment to reset. And then when you're ready, rise up again for your second and final bridge of our practice. Feet pressing into the earth, hips are high. down to the earth. Bring the feet wide to the edges of the mat, knees knock in, knock knee pose. This is just a nice counter posture for our back bending. And then soles of the feet come together, knees open wide, Supta Padasana. You can have one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart here. And so I mentioned earlier that sometimes Kali can be mistaken for bad luck. So it's often when these big traumatic events happen and we're like our world is shaken, we don't really know how to proceed. But really we find out, and sometimes it's later, that it actually wasn't bad luck, but it actually opened up doors for us that wasn't previously there, or it gave us an opportunity to rebuild our life in a way that was more authentic to who we actually are. And that's really what Kali wants us to do, is to live our most truthful, our most meaningful life. But her energy reminds me of a quote from Kurt Vonnegut. I know a few guys have heard it because I've said it before, but it's really one of my favorite ones, and it reminds me of Kali, so I'm going to read it here. So it's, the truth is, we know so little about life. We don't really know what the good news is and what the bad news is. And I always like to keep that in mind every time, something doesn't necessarily work out the way that you want. It's just that maybe there's something better. We just simply don't know the difference between the good news and the bad news. Not until we get to the other side. So with that in mind, we can kind of assume that anytime something happens, that there will be growth, there will be opportunity, as challenging as it may be at the time. And give the knees a hug in, rocking a little from side to side. And come into our reclining figure four now. So right ankle can cross in front of the left knee. And grab behind the left thigh, maybe gently press the right knee away. And you can really take this posture as deep as you want. So you can take it really deep, or if you're kind of in the mood for something more restorative now, you can plant that left foot on the wall, or maybe right on the earth. And when you're ready, you can switch sides. So left ankle can come in front of the right knee. Both feet are flexed. You're taking it to your level of depth. And release the left ankle. Grab the inside edges of the feet, coming into happy baby. Rocking from side to side, just like a baby does in the crib, massaging out the spine. And give the knees a hug in. And keep the right knee hugged in. Let the left leg go long on the earth. With the left hand, you can gently guide the right knee across the body. Right arm can come out, anchoring you to the earth as you gaze to the right. And coming back to center, you can give both knees a hug in. Then extend the right leg long to the earth. That right hand will guide the left knee across the body. And for our supine twist. Coming back through center, give your knees one more hug, and then just even take the moment just to be thankful, express gratitude towards yourself for making the time today, 1 hour dedicated to reintegrating body, mind, and spirit. And then releasing the legs long in the earth. Take up some space here, so maybe the legs come wide. Palms can face the sky. And do a scan of the body. See if there's any place where you're holding any tension. Maybe you can add a little bit more ease. Let's come into your final posture, and probably the most important one, Shavasana. And starting to bring a little consciousness back. You can wiggle the toes, fingers. When you're ready, you can roll over to the left or right side. We'll spend a moment in the fetal position. Still resting, eyes still closed, head still heavy. And start to rise up to a comfortable seat. We'll meet with our hands at heart center. Keep the eyes closed, your gaze softly at the fingertips. Bringing the thumb knuckles to the lips and to the third eye. And so wishing you love and light on your journey. Everything that is good and light in me bows to everything that is good and light in you. Namaste. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for practicing. I'll come over and unmute folks in case you have any questions.